Wi-Fi. There we go, and we're live.
We should observe the ancient ritual of traditional pre-fight donut. Yeah.
Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it?
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this time?
Shut up.
Break, not hit back.
Silly Caucasian girl likes to play with samurai swords.
You will all refer to me by the name Betty.
I know Kung Fu.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
I said I don't want trouble.
Only a ninja can destroy a ninja.
Defeat does not exist in this dojo, does it? No, Sensei!
Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
And we're live. Welcome to the KickFlix podcast, your favorite podcast where you come to watch and listen to people talk and review your favorite martial art movies from past and present. I am Larry Science. With me, as usual, is Mike Karate Chop Mercadal.
Inside crescent kick. Wakai!
And a split second ago, Jeff was here, and then now he went away. I don't know what happened. He went away. What did
he got kicked. Something happened. His internet broke him. Literally right as the opening credits were playing.
I know, it's the weirdest thing. And the funny thing is, I'm the one that has a shitty Wi-Fi because I'm the one on a cruise ship right now. So
you're the one in the middle of the ocean.
And middle of the technically, I'm we're docked on the island of Saint Martin.
Is it pronounced that? It's not Martin. Very French.
Some of the there's two sides of the island. There's a French side and there's a Dutch side. So it depends on, they even spell it differently.
Oh,
so
there he is.
I got kicked.
Hey,
no pun intended.
So we were just talking about Jeff Superman Punch Mercancini.
As we say from Miami, howdy.
Howdy. If you haven't seen this movie, we had it makes zero sense. But also, if you have seen the movie, it makes zero sense.
We're here to talk about today 1989's Best of the Best,
with Academy Award nominee Eric Roberts,
with the most ironic title of all time.
Woo!
It's like
wow.
We're okay. That would have been like the better.
Wow. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Would you have gone to see a movie that was like the okay of the fine? Like it's okay. We're okay. We're the okay of the fine. We're not. It's fine. Anyways, so break us off, Mike, like we always do. Break us off with the IMDb description of the movie.
Oh, we're doing 60-second reviews, or we're going?
No, IMDb description of the movie.
The IMDb, it says a team from the United States is going to compete against Korea in a Taekwondo tournament. The team consists of fighters from all over the country. Can they overcome their rivalry to work together to win? I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happened in the movie, but
yes and no, because there was only a rivalry with one person, and it was just racism.
That's not true. There was also a rivalry with the coach, so there was also that. We are here to build a team.
Greetings.
Okay, Mufasa, take it easy.
Everything your gloves touch is your kingdom.
You're at a 9. I'm gonna need you to bring it down to about a 6 right now. Just bring it down. Any parental guidance? Any parental?
Okay, here we go. The parents guide brought to you by IMDb. These are user submitted, I will say. Sex and nudity, none. Although they say inner and outer labia several times as one character tries to convince another one to go to the bar to pick up girls.
As you do.
Correct.
As you do, you describe inner and outer labia. It's in quotes.
As one does when you're trying to get your friend to go out, you just describe the woman's inner and outer labia.
Inner and outer labia. I cannot believe that is an accurate quote, but it is. At the bar, there's a part where a male character gropes the buttocks of his female dance partner in a very suggestive way. Very true. Half the bar scene
is that suggestive? I thought that was just
It's
adamant.
straight demonstrative.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it is straight. Like, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
half the-
suggesting that I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
half the bar scene. Well, she was into it, but for
Oh,
other
legit.
reasons.
Yeah.
Half the bar scene is about the male characters finding someone to hook up with for the night. Coach says, if you're lucky, you might get laid, which is going to come into play as to, like, in one scene they say something, and then later on in the movie it's like literally the same speech. Within the same speech, James Earl Jones's speech is like contradicting itself. Violence and gore, moderate. During the lengthy tournament scene at the end, some of the fights are a bit brutal and the competitors end up fairly bloody. Dramatic, like hilariously so. Profanity, mild. A few uses of shit and some milder language such as damn, hell, and some insults used fleetingly. First 5 minutes use GD. I'd really like to see profanity filters. Ooh, this
But-
is a very,
Wait.
very mild person.
So they put mild, yet there's massive racist statements being flung
hey,
to people.
But that's not
Hey, man.
profanity. But
It's
that's
not
not
profanity,
profanity.
yo.
I mean,
It's not profanity.
I would
Take it
I
easy.
would say that it's worse to hear inner and outer labia than anything else. Like there's perfectly reasonable language to say inner and outer labia.
I mean, I learned because now that's why monks, those Tibetan monks, they don't want women around them because all you have to say is inner and outer labia, and all their meditation is gone. Oh wait, did you say both? If it was just inner, I'd be out. But you
outer
said both.
labia, inner labia together. We've said labia way too much this show. Frightening and intense scenes, mild. The tournament sequence is pretty intense. So basically, if you're a parent, this movie is fine, but also don't show this to your kids.
No,
This
at
is
all. Like, I
trash.
mean, it's garbage. Maybe as a punishment,
Yeah, maybe it was rated
PG-13.
PG-13, but in like the thing with IMDb, it shows you like all of the international ratings, and in South Korea their rating for this is all. So it was like it's like a G rating in South Korea.
Yeah, it's like a Tuesday.
Yeah, but like also
Yeah,
like
well, I mean, they win. So
They
why
win,
wouldn't they
so
want-
it should have
why
100%
wouldn't-
rating over there.
Yeah.
oh boy.
Everybody should watch this movie. It's accurate.
All show
It's accurate.
all glory to mighty South Korea.
Yeah.
There's that so if you're a parent, this is for a KickFlix movie, fairly light in the things you need to be worried about.
Yeah. I'd be more worried in Red Belt than this.
God, Red Belt was fuck. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But here's the
Guys,
best
I
part
thought
is
we
like
agreed- I thought we agreed to never talk about that again.
you'd hope
And
that the
let's never
taglines
speak of it again.
you'd hope that the taglines for the movie would at least make up for it. They don't. There's a kind of inner strength you never know you have until it's all you have.
You know,
Here's my favorite one.
you know what? I gotta be honest with you. I don't hate it. I don't. It's a
Well,
bit
wait,
wordy.
follow this one.
It's a bit
Tell-
wordy.
You think that's wordy? If two wrongs don't make a right, then what happens when one wrong handpicks five more?
What?
Jesus, what the?
What kind of
fuck?
algebra do you have to do in that?
Oh my god!
There's like 6 of them. It's like you can work, sweat, train, and dream, and still never be better than good.
What? What
Who
kind of
wrote these?
cokehead writing is this?
Is
that it? Are there more?
No, there's like 3 more. What does it take to turn 5 uncontrollable characters into one unbeatable team? Again, I don't think they were all uncontrollable, but whatever.
I also don't think that they were unbeaten.
Unbeatable, yeah.
Yeah,
Sonny
they weren't
and
unbeatable.
Vince went down pretty, or Virgil. Virgil was it? The guy?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, Virgil went down.
But yeah, the other ones are whatever. It's not even like worth it. But yeah, those first 2 though. The one wrong picks 5 wrongs, and what is
complicated?
how many?
Jesus.
And then he gets a basket of apples. And no.
All right, so 60-second first impressions, Mike. Not a review, just a first impression.
The song at the end was dope.
It's true. It's true. All right, Jeff, with your 60-second first impression.
The soundtrack slaps.
The soundtrack.
The soundtrack slaps.
No,
Everything else doesn't.
I feel like we should. Yeah, I feel like I should say something. Here's the reality. We've tried to record this session and get into this to record this thing for a little while. So like, the initial shock of how bad this movie is has worn off, and that I feel is lost in what we're talking about, because when we were texting back and forth, having originally watched this, we were like aghast at, first of all, how racist it was, like with when phrases
It's
like
racial. It's racial.
in my 60 seconds I will call it racist. No, but it genuinely is like this convoluted thing of the 80s where it was like Asian mysticism and the magical powers of foreigners and all that kind of weird shit that happened with after Karate Kid with the Mr. Miyagi shit. I genuinely thought this movie was, I'd never seen it, so I genuinely thought it was going to be better because people have said, "Oh, I love."
Is this your first time seeing it?
Yes. Yeah, I'd
Oh,
never seen it.
Wow.
And then so when people were like, "Oh, I love Best of the Best," as I was watching, it's like, am I watching the right movie? Is this the movie I'm supposed to be watching? Because it was genuinely trash, overacted, racist, and just downright weird that it got made. Like, I would love to know how the fuck they got James Earl Jones and like
Eric Roberts.
Not Eric Roberts.
I mean, that's not him.
Eric Roberts in 1989. No. Eric Roberts in
That's fair,
1989 was a fucking get.
But I would
not
love
the same. You're not
and
talking about
Ahmad
Eric
Rashad
Roberts
comes in at the end. Like, I mean, it was just like, how did they get all of this money for this? How did they get the budget for this? Whatever. That's my 60 seconds. Is what? What?
Yeah. The soundtracks. I'll say it again. The soundtrack slaps. I loved all the songs in it. They tried with the 80s montages. Like some of them were good, but it seemed like some of them it was like a student film that I recorded for my 6th grade English class. Like, but it so the guy who plays Tommy wrote it, and you could tell that he probably hasn't written anything before. I haven't looked it up, but a lot of the dialogue drove me crazy because it was this dialogue where you'd be saying one thing and then suddenly stop and you're saying something completely different, and it has nothing to do with what was just being talked about. So it drove me kind of crazy. The final fight was cool, but I think that they tried to, because Karate Kid was before this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They tried to cash in on the whole, the breaking of the boards and stuff like that. That really there was no necessity for that. They could have just had the fights and left it at that. Especially since it was kind of, I don't know, the final fights and stuff like that were very kind of anticlimactic for me, and they seemed kind of rushed. I didn't like it very much. Christy, my wife, this was one of her favorite movies, like because she had a crush on Tommy. So like she loved the movie because of Tommy, but like she has no qualms at the fact that it's bad. But right. She's like me, that I can enjoy a bad movie. I didn't really enjoy this, and I watched it again before we recorded, and still had the same effect. So I
don't mean to tag onto that, but I will say this movie would have been only good if we were watching it together.
Probably, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would have enjoyed it only. Like, I did not enjoy this movie. So I would have said, if we were all watching it together to react to the inner and outer labias, it would have been like fun, but this was not fun.
All right. So my impression, 60-second impression is this. I actually like this movie. I am by no means stretching the imagination saying it's good. There are some horribly acted parts of this movie, but like, I don't know who hired the lady who played the mom, the grandma to the kid. She was like so bad, and there are times where Eric Roberts is trying to act his ass off with her, and she comes in with horrific, both horrific dialogue and horrific delivery. And I'm just like, yeah, and she's just like, what about your shoulder? did they know about your shoulder? And I was like, oh Jesus, somebody put an end to her. Um, so by no means am I saying that the movie's good. I like this movie. First of all, I totally have a lot of kid eyes for this movie because I saw it when it came out in theaters. But on top of that, I still like this movie. I still like this movie for a lot of parts. But I can acknowledge this was horribly. There's a lot of exposition in the writing, and you go, you don't need to tell us that. It's fine. You don't need to.
Hey, did you know that one guy was Italian?
Oh my God, Sonny! Oh my God,
what Italian from Detroit?
Hey,
he's
hey,
Italian
these girls
from
should love
Detroit.
me. These girls should love me. I'm from.
I don't understand how
I'm Italian.
You have Italian from Detroit, and then you have a cowboy from Miami, and I'm like,
oh my God, Chris Penn, rest in peace.
Did you guys just fucking throw a dart at the map and be like, and the Miami guys, the Cowboys from, fuck it, Miami. I guess
bolo tie and everything, bro, and like
this was in the 80s when it was like cocaine cowboy time.
But they were real cowboys.
I just want to say, you did not understand what the point of it was.
Cowboys.
They went to Sunset Feed. like that's how they cast this guy.
So bad.
Southwest ranches.
But I actually like this movie. I'm acknowledging that it's not good. But I did enjoy my time watching this movie, and thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie. But I'm acknowledging.
I disagree that
audiences
you
agree with
this.
him.
I did I disagree that anyone could enjoy this.
Audiences gave it a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There's no way that that's not an ironic 72%.
And critics gave it a 33.
I understand. I'm just speaking in hyperbole. I can't understand it. This movie, first of all, Eric Roberts, he's acting so hard.
So hard.
Like
he's acting his ass off, man. I'm telling you, man. Pop it, Tommy. Pop it. Pop it, Tommy. So fucking great.
God, the
coach,
guys,
coach,
it was nominated for an award.
My kid.
One award.
The
Stinker Award. And it lost. I looked up the year. It lost to Harlem Nights.
The Stinker?
It's called the Stinker Awards. And
Harlem Nights is great. Shut the fuck up.
They do nominations.
I don't understand. I just don't understand how anybody could like Harlem Nights. I was like, that's what you're saying right now.
In 1989, it was Harlem Nights, Best of the Best, Eddie and the Cruisers 2, Eddie Lives, The Gods Must Be Crazy 2, and Wicked Stepmother were the top 5 nominations for the Stinker Award, and they lost out to Harlem Nights. That's the only award that was ever involved with this movie.
I love that movie too.
Oh boy.
But
all right. So it starts off, all right. Eric Roberts is working at a car plant,
General Motors,
and then he goes and he teaches his kid how to ride a bike, and it's like the grandma really is the shittiest actress on the fucking planet.
Dude, he was horrible in those opening scenes too, bro.
Oh, it's so bad. But
he was so bad. Like when he's like, "I'm doing it myself, Dad." He's like, "I see it, son."
The kid,
cry number one. Cry one.
The kid is awful. Like the kid is an awful
he's in part
actor.
2. Yeah, he's grown up in part 2.
Yeah, there's so many bad actors in this opening scene. But I believe a lot of it has to be with dialogue. A lot of it has to do with like writing. It's like, why are you writing this?
Well, the whole conversation he had at the table with his mother, like I literally wrote, I'm like, Eric Roberts is a terrible father. Because like he's literally sitting there and she's like, I made it to the karate tournament. They want me to try to fight. And she's like, but what about us? And he's like, this is the only thing I'm good at. Well, what about your son? What about him? Fuck you, bro.
What about him, Ma?
It's a good thing you taught him how to ride bike. That's not going to come back to haunt him later.
I was actually with. See, here's the thing where good writing would have come into play. I understood what was said without said because I myself in a situation where I'm a traveling dad for work to follow your dreams. He could have said something like, "This is the only thing I'm really good at. What about your son?" He's like, "What about him? Don't you think he would want me to follow my dreams?" Like that extra little line, you know what I mean? So, but I get where when it's not said, it's like, oh, but you can't just say what about him and then leave it at that. Yeah. You can't. You either have to say, you either have to say the whole thing or not say what about him. You can't just leave it at that. But I get it. I'm
trying to look and see what else this guy has done. The director,
one?
I mean, the director. His name is Robert Bob Radler, and I'm looking, and he's directed a ton of like TV, but up like best. He did Best of the Best in 1989. He has like but literally the only thing before that, he directed Survivor, a Survivor music video, the band Survivor, called I Can't Hold Back, The New Monkeys, and then Best of the Best. Like that was it. Like
And the Substitute 3 and 4.
No, but that came late. What I'm saying is, how did this guy get a job directing James Earl Jones? James Earl Jones, like, is James Earl Jones, right? At this stage in his career, he's like he'd done, was Field of Dreams before this? Was
it's right around that time.
It's gotta be, right? Like
Field of Dreams, I want to say it was like early 90s though.
Maybe I don't know, but like then he goes off and he does like Mighty Morphin 89.
Yeah,
nailed it.
Yeah.
So Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, he does. He directs like Sweet Valley High. He just goes back to TV, and I just wonder like if this movie did it to him, like where he was like, I'm gonna make a movie, and then Hollywood was like, go back to television.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
you're not. No more.
No, you're not.
But it's not even. It's not. It wasn't even good television even then.
Yeah.
Like, nobody was bragging in the 80s about directing Sweet Valley High. That wasn't like, it wasn't like I got credits. It's
Okay.
Like, okay.
Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. He's got
he directed 2 episodes of VIP, the Pamela Anderson show that she was like the spy.
Of course.
That show, I remember.
Considering the fact that there was only 4 episodes, that's 50% of the show right there.
That show had one of the funniest scenes in it that I remember laughing my fucking ass off. I still remember it to this day, but I can't like find it anywhere. And I sound like an insane person going, haven't you seen it on the Pamela Henderson show VIP? It's hilarious. And I just remember laughing my ass off to it, but it is genuinely just like, God, there was a string of those shows like Cleopatra 25 or some other shit like that. It was like, hey, here's some like Victoria's Secret catalog level television for you to watch.
And then Pacific Blue.
All
the bicycle one.
But bicycle, all the Baywatch ripoffs.
But yeah, so he's right off the bat says fuck his kid. I don't care.
Yes, I'm sorry. I got distracted. I'm sorry.
And then they go to the tournament. Like, and when you see Tommy's teaching kids, doing that whole thing with like I want you guys to be best friends. And it's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
such a bad job. Such a bad acting job. The whole thing is the kids were bad actors. They're like, oh God. Jesus,
well, Tommy was in all 4 because there's a 4th Best of the Best. I thought there was only 3. There's 4. And he wrote 1 and 4. So, and he's the star in those. Eric Roberts comes back for part 2.
Yeah, you need money, bro.
Sure, yeah, money.
So does Chris Penn.
Chris Penn's character dies in part 2. Spoiler alert.
Why, I wasn't gonna tell Mike that, but
I could not care less.
You should, because it's gonna be on the wheel now.
It's gonna be on the wheel, buddy.
I will quit the fucking show. I am never watching another Best of the Best ever.
Hey, Mike, Blind Fury's not so bad anymore, is it?
One does not make the other one good.
Yeah,
they're both.
To paraphrase, one bad does not cancel out another bad. But what happens when you get one bad and picks out 5 other bad ones?
Other bads.
Oh my God.
But so they go to this tournament, and like, if
first of all, wait. I just want to say that we still have yet to get. This is the closest we've gotten to a true tournament movie in KickFlix so far, right? This is the closest we've gotten. Because, or maybe not, Jet Li's Fearless was pretty close too, but even that didn't have points. There was no thing.
It was a win or lose thing.
There was a win or lose thing. And then here's the thing that bothers me about this movie, because you're coming really close to actually doing a tournament. But there's only 2 teams. But throughout the movie, you're constantly saying things like it's an international tournament.
Yeah.
And you don't why say that if you're only gonna have 2 teams? And why at least give some kind of explanation as to thanks to our win last year, we are automatically into the finals or some shit. Give some. I don't like when they only have 2 teams. It's at least make the attempt to make it seem as if the other teams have a chance. We know it's going to be between 2 teams, but come on, man.
But they set it up that there's no chance, because how many times throughout the movie do they say the phrase, "We all know the Asians are better at this than we are"?
Yo, so much of this Far East, and then it was like a karate tournament, but it's Korean, which is Taekwondo,
Well,
which
no,
is like
but they specified that the Ahmad Rashad specified that it does have all the martial arts, including Taekwondo, karate, judo. They did specify. I was
but
like,
they
oh,
only reference it at the very end. So the whole
yes, yeah,
time I'm watching this, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
yeah,
That it's a karate tournament with the South Koreans, or not even South Koreans, it's just like the Korean nation. And
right.
like when they were talking about when they
This is
brought in,
before Korea split up. I don't know. I don't know what.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know, but
I don't know
no,
geopolitical. I don't know geopolitical history. I don't know.
no, but
Fucking-
there is like a North Korea and a South Korea at this point after the Korean War, and then the idea that they bring in, so James Earl Jones is gonna train their body and going to do all the things, but then they bring in this Sally Kirkland character, this lady, to
who aged horribly.
who trains them. Is she supposed to be like a sexy love interest at some point? Is there any kind
No,
of
there was no love interest whatsoever,
No.
except
At
for
all,
Chris
right?
Pratt and Travis asking her for a phone number.
Sure.
But it's
And
like, what are we gonna do? We need somebody to give us Eastern philosophy. A blonde-haired white woman.
100%.
That's who we
I
get.
laughed so hard. She learned the lessons of the Far East, and I was like, and then she was like, I'm going to teach you meditation. I'm going to teach you this yoga, and I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
South Asian too? Like, wait, wow, okay, this lady's traveled. You know,
But I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, dude. It's like you have that. You're not even gonna bring like an actual person of Asian descent to be the one that's the yogi and the one teaching the Far East traditions.
Hey.
And they're like, I have a
I
belt.
would have a problem with all of this if it wasn't for the fact the one who wrote the movie is Asian. Oh well,
Right.
you wrote the fucking movie.
no,
This is
to
how
be-
you
He
wrote
wrote it, but the director picks who's gonna be the actors in it. The writer doesn't really have necessary say in that.
This is true.
So
there's
he
an
could have.
element of the
I want to see the original script where they
Yeah,
scratch
yes.
out Asian American woman or Asian woman. It's like blonde girl.
I would love to know, like, this is the time when I wish I had the power to like like if you won $1 billion, like what movie would you remake? I don't want that. I would wish I could go back in time and make a documentary about the making of some of these movies. Like I wish I
Yeah.
knew all of the steps. Like they're doing that new movie about The Godfather, that it
Right.
talks about how The Godfather got made. And I wish I could go back and like make a documentary or learn all of the stuff, why this movie exists the way it does. Because there had to have been a million changes. Who knows
It's
what
the
they
80s,
shot?
baby.
Cocaine, baby.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. Like I just don't understand some of the choices that they made, because even perfect example is the James Earl Jones speech when he gets all these guys before their night out at the bar, and he gives them the speech, and we're going 3 months and no distractions,
No girls, no
no
drugs,
no pussy, no
alcohol.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the end he's like, all right, now go get drugs and pussy and
Yeah. Get it out of your fucking system.
you might get laid. And it's like, what? You just said, all right.
My favorite
I'm
thing
okay
though
with
to go
that.
back to
I was okay with that because he said in the next 3 months, tonight's your last night out. Like he said,
Yeah.
get it out of your system.
what I want to go back real quick to the blonde girl, because my favorite thing is that she does the whole speech and she's like, I'm going to teach you this and that. And she's the Far East traditions and the Far East philosophies. Now, let me quote Vince Lombardi. It's like a student of Confucius, Vince Lombardi. Like, it's like, what the fuck?
I'm trying. I don't want to just go through and read the plot, this summary.
Oh, there is one?
There's one on, because on the Wikipedia it doesn't even it's like the plot revolves around American martial artists facing a team of South, whatever. Several subplots pop in the story. Moral conflicts, the power of the human spirit triumphing over adversity, and the meaning of life are some themes. What? No, it does not. Like someone who like the guy who is Tommy wrote the Wikipedia for this. And also I would just love to know, like, I need more information as to why this exists in the way it does, but also like because the script, the quotes are insane. If you go on the IMDb and you look at the quotes, it's like insane. Where like Alex Grady, Tommy, no, coach, he's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Like that immediately, that line in itself is like fine. But when
Okay,
you see it acted by Eric Roberts in that moment,
Yeah.
it's like
No.
this.
No.
Just
Tommy.
Oh,
he's
Tommy.
going to kill him.
he's going to, and his voice cracks all the time.
But
He's
here's
gonna kill him.
so
I mean,
here's
the
my
best
problem
line
with-
was the breastfeeding one, right?
here's my problem. That's funny. Here's my problem with that scene of he's gonna kill him. When you watch the movie, Alex wasn't there when Tommy did that practice kick that almost killed Virgil.
Yeah.
He didn't see him do that kick. He didn't see him do that. You know, that's this version of the crane kick, the special kick.
Yeah.
He didn't see him do that. So how would he know that he's cocking back to do that special kick?
He knows because one of my favorite times that Eric Roberts was fully supportive of his friend is when Tommy was going to quit and do his Top Gun moment on the motorcycle. He goes, I want to kill that son of a bitch. And Eric Roberts is like, okay, then fucking kill him. Like, that's literally his response to him.
But
like,
on the
"Okay,
mat.
kill him."
But on the mat, we kill people on the mat. It's totally
But
fine
he
on the
knew it.
mat.
He's like,
But in the quotes, you got to read the next line because it says, I want to kill that son of a bitch. And then Alex goes, then kill that son of a bitch. And then Tommy goes, Alex, I'm afraid. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so much of that. Like,
he just got
yeah.
like I think he was just copying and pasting movies that he had seen. So he's like, I want to kill that son of a bitch. And then he's like, oh, Rocky 3. He says, I'm
Yeah.
afraid. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
yes.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid. You're like, it's okay to be afraid. Like that. I just copying and pasting.
They
lines
stole
from
the
other
shoulder
movies.
pop from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pop it, Tommy. Pop it.
Tommy, pop
Pop it.
Okay, can we go back, though, to the bar fight, the bar scene?
Yeah. we
Because
should
there's so
probably-
many things in that bar scene. Like, I love, first of all, Virgil's probably my favorite of the group. Just because,
Well-
because even that little like pickup line that he did for the girl that Eric, that the horrible acted scene with Eric Roberts and Tommy like looking at him and like, wait, Irish coffee? Did he just get her by pouring hot coffee on her? Like that was the line.
There's
Like,
so
I'm like,
much weird shit at that bar scene. But I do want to talk about how the team is assembled before this.
Right.
There's this weird little tournament tryout thing.
right. Yes.
And it's almost like they were putting together like a boy band.
Oh yeah.
I got that vibe all the time. Look at this. Tell me this isn't a boy band.
100%. No, and even James Earl Jones says he's a bad boy. We're
Yeah.
gonna for Travis. He's like he's a bad boy.
That's
We
where
can
he's got
fix
the
him.
cowboy hat. And first of all, none of these look like this. He does not look like an elite level fighter.
He does not look like an elite anything except maybe
Anything.
Eater.
Yeah. I want like who cast this movie? And then there's the I'm Italian and the one's like I'm a
Hey.
computer nerd. And then
Yeah.
there's the grizzled veteran for the previous injury, and then the Asian guy who adds legitimacy to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the cast from Saved by the Bell, where all these people would naturally never hang out together.
absolutely.
And then but somehow they're all hanging out. Somehow the nerd is hanging out with the coolest person in the school, which is hanging out with the coolest jock of the school, which is hanging like that's this reminds me of like that type of scenario where it's like it's the BK Kids Club where we have to have a representative.
Oh
We
my
have to
God.
have a representative of all of them, right? Like
Wow.
we're missing the black kid. That's the only thing we're missing from this group.
100%. It's like
Is we're
the
missing the
Captain
black kid.
Planet's Planeteers. Yeah.
Yeah. We have the Asian guy, we have the Italian guy, we have
We have all the
rough and
shades of
tumble
white.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have exactly.
Yeah.
All the shades of white.
All
Look,
the
we have
shades
all,
of white.
We have olive white. We have off white. We have mother
And
of
even though
We have
Chris Penn was Italian, Chris Penn's
Yeah.
part Italian, so they got two Italians in here, but he's the guy from Miami. He's the cowboy from Miami. I don't get it.
That's still so funny to me, and I just like those are the kind of questions I would love to. I would like. Is Tommy Reese still alive, or what's his name? The guy who wrote it. What's his name? Reese.
Yeah, because Chris Penn passed away in 2006.
His name Philip Ree. Is Philip Ree still alive? Because all I want is to be like,
yes.
why?
And does he do cons? Because it would be great to be. I would love to pay for Mike to do a meet and greet with Philip and be like, yeah, I have a question. Why?
Why?
And then he'll be like, "Oh, this is another best of the best question."
Yeah, it's gonna be like,
well, yeah, it isn't gonna be fucking. What else has he done? Like what? It's either best of the best or the Godfather. It's one of those two things.
He's done actually. Believe it or not, I'm looking at his thing. He's done a few movies.
Yeah, but they're all B fight movies.
Yeah, Crime
they're all-
Killer,
they're all B fucking
L.A. Street Fighters. We need to
Oh.
find these.
yeah. I found the quote from the bar fight scene where the guy Bert goes, I want him. I want his balls.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Like there was so many
Yeah.
weird line choices.
You know who Bird is?
Who?
That's Kane Hodder. He played Jason in 4 of the movies. I've met him at a convention. He's super nice guy. But that's Kane Hodder, and he comes back for part 4. I read as a white supremacist at the end of, or part 3, as a white supremacist that Tommy fights at the end.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's horror royalty right there, Kane Hodder.
I mean, in this movie, God bless him. You know, like that. But they gave him the the most insane lines to say. Fuck.
I mean,
I don't know. When you're angry, don't you just say bad words? Like, isn't that the thing where you just fucking motherfucker? And you're like, what? I don't. Okay,
huh?
Fucking motherfucker. Whatever.
But that whole bar fight scene was great. That whole bar fight, because freaking, I love it because Eric Roberts he calls on a payphone collect to his house. He does a collect call to his house, and his son's telling him, "I want to drive the car." And he's like, no, absolutely not. You're not going to. And that's the conversation he's having with his 5-year-old is about him driving the car. And all them are fighting, you know.
I forgot to mention at the top of the episode, I apologize because we've been trying to do this episode for a couple weeks now. I forgot to mention that this episode is brought to us by our sponsors. Thank you. That's it. That's what they always say in this movie. The sponsors, and they never mention the fucking sponsors, and they just say our sponsors are paying for this. Our sponsors are paying, and you're like, I'm ahead of the sponsors. And you're like, what? Can you fucking name one? Can you just name one sponsor? You couldn't even make up a fictitious sponsor company name. Like it doesn't even have to be real.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be Pepsi. It could have been like
Kodiak.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for Pop Soda. Okay.
B-Rock shoes. Instead of Reebok, it's anything. They could have said anything.
So you get they start doing the montages. You see the training. They're showing the videos of each other. Which, by the way, Daehan, the one that Tommy fights at the end, they're actually brothers in real life. So they're actually brothers in real life. But that's the only trivia you can find on this movie, aside from it's Chuck Liddell's favorite martial arts movie. Like that's the only 2 facts you can find on this movie. But so you get these training montages, and it's like they tried to do Rocky, but they like the songs would cut out in the middle of the training montages. And like there was one where they just show the Korean team just trying to run through a snowstorm, but I think the directors messed up and they didn't realize how deep the snow was. So you see these Korean guys that are supposed to be built up as these badasses like struggling through the snow. And then
I remember laughing at that where it's like they don't look that impressive here. I am not afraid of these people.
Oh, what's up, Ricky?
Rookie says, you got to make sure that the script has room for product placement. Too bad no companies wanted in.
Wow.
Dang.
That may be a good solid point, man.
Yeah, for real.
And I love that one shot of them training where they're just hitting the pole, the trees in the forest.
Yeah.
And you know that they have somebody above them just dropping snow. Because they're just doing the chop against the
That's a badass shot though. Not for nothing.
I mean, it would be if it wasn't it would be if the branch wasn't like that big. The stump was like this wide. It was like I've seen palm trees that I think are fucking.
Yeah, but that's still. I mean, they're still not cutting down those trees with their fucking hands. Like,
no, obviously, yeah. But they did. The montages were so funny and so different for both of them that it was like, the U.S. stands no chance. Cause when you watch those and they had to pretend to not be able to jump rope so that later on they could show Eric Roberts jumping rope.
I was like, aren't these already elite athletes? I like the fact that Eric Roberts, they make a fucking painful point to point out how many times they said his shoulder, he has a bad shoulder.
Yeah.
But he keeps using his shoulder. Like in a bar fight, he used his shoulder to, I'm like, what? You should probably not do that. That's
probably the last thing you should do.
Don't lead with your shoulder.
Yeah.
No. Lead with a bad one.
Yeah.
But okay, so James Earl Jones, his character, I get that they tried to do a redemption arc at the end, but I still fucking hated him. Especially there was one scene in particular, and it was when Eric Roberts gets the phone call that his son was in the accident from the bicycle, and he goes up to him and he's like, he's walking outside and he goes, let's talk outside. And he goes, he might lose. This is what I love. He might lose his leg. We all have our own priorities. That's the response that he gives to him.
The writing during that exchange is fucking bonkers. It literally like, why are you going to tell your coach anything? Your son was in it. Leave. Call from the hospital. Call from the airport. Like, fuck you that.
Then the best was that Tommy, like when he goes to tell him, he's like, I gotta go. My son's not. He's like, we'll figure it out when you get back. And then he starts leaving and he goes, hold on a second. Don't forget your Team USA jacket. And like he makes him come back to get it. And then when they go to the hospital, that's the part that was bonkers to me, because you hear the overdub of it, and it's like, doctor, tell me. He goes, well, the legs, he's gonna be in a cast for a while, but that's not the problem. He's in a coma, and it could take anywhere from an hour to a month for him to come out of it. And I was like, what? Yeah. What are you fucking talking about? Like he was gonna lose his leg, and you didn't tell him he was in a coma. Like you didn't mention that part at all. And suddenly
he's been unconscious this whole time, so he's not worried about the leg. Oh, really? He's not worried about because he's in a coma. What?
Yeah. You know? The leg's not the problem. It's the coma.
Fuck, dude. Well, the whole point of that, where he's like, I want to, like, coach, and, him like losing his mind and being overly dramatic, like
overly dramatic. It's just his son in a coma. Jeez, bring it down a notch.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? Fuck them kids.
Bring it down a notch.
No. It's not about the fact. It's the fact that he goes to this like he would assume that he needs permission. Like it felt like this should have been like the junior team, like, because they talked like these are fucking adults. They're like
I'm a grown-ass man.
These are like somebody, like these dudes are in their 30s. Like, relax. Like these are professional athletes. This feels like it was written for children, like it should have been kids doing their junior, like Mighty Ducks or some shit, like Mighty Ducks 2. This feels like it should have, if it would have been children, it would have made a lot more sense. But they're adults though. The whole time you're like, no, you have to stay. And it's like, I have a child who was in an accident. You're lucky I'm even talking to you right now.
Right.
Like,
I would have been on an airplane already.
Yeah.
Like
it just makes no sense. That's what I'm saying. Like, some of these writing choices are insane. It was like, we all have our priorities is a bonkers line.
I mean, I actually look. So I hated James Earl Jones until he gave that speech to the female coach. I forget her name, coach, whatever her name was. And I thought that was a valid point. He was like, I was on Tommy's brothers. I was coaching Tommy's brother's team, and we weren't ready. We weren't prepared, and I won't have like. So he's like doing the overcompensation thing. I kind of thought that was a redeeming quality. I'm like, okay, it makes sense now.
You just made me remember the flashback where it's like, he's a kid. He's got a sideways cap and an ice cream at a karate tournament.
Oh my god! I know this is a flashback because it's in black and white. So clearly a flashback.
And I wonder if this ice cream is going to come into play later. And then when he sees the little brother with the ice cream cones.
That was so funny too, where the guy's like, I'm having trouble with my brother's death, and then you look over and there's nobody else there except for two brothers sharing an ice cream cone, and it's just like, geez, I can't remember what movie it was where like every time he turns to look at something, he's like, oh my god, and it reminds him of the thing, and then he turns around and it reminds him of the thing. Like, he's like, he can't. Like that's what it felt. It just felt so obvious of a plant, but then also like the James Earl Jones part that I did not understand. Well, there's a lot I didn't understand, but the one of the things that it bothered me the most was he's like, why are you holding back? And he's like,
that's my teammate, motherfucker.
No. But also, like, like the goal, this isn't like a death match, right? I'm not trying to murder this person. We are like, this is just a tournament of martial arts sport, right?
Yeah,
we're still doing
it by points. It's by points, right?
Yeah, but
like,
still, that's his part. That's his team member.
No, but you don't get extra points for hitting harder.
Exactly.
A kick to the face is worth 1 point.
Tell that to the Korean team.
Is worth a hard point. Like,
yeah. It's like you get 1 point, but I'm writing it down real hard. Like.
But it was the thing, and I get it. It was they purposefully did it with. I can give credit where credit is due that they purposefully did that scene when it was him fighting against Travis, because Travis had at that point been verbally abusive to him. Also, Saudi like
antagonized him.
doing those really stereotypical
racist, yeah.
things. Like when they were eating, and he goes, spare ribs, an American treat. He's like, you don't eat that raw fish crap, right? That'll make your eyes slant, your dick shrivel up, and you'll open up a laundry. That's literally what he said. I wrote it down.
But he wrote that line, though.
Yeah.
An Asian American wrote that line. How do you get mad at that? Like
I'm not mad at it. It's just
I'm not mad.
No,
at
like,
it.
just a
no, I'm
poorly
saying, like, how do you like?
It's
Okay.
but it's so like. Here's the thing. An Asian American wrote it, but that doesn't mean he's a good writer. Like he's trash writing.
Oh no, he's been proven. It's proven. He proved throughout this movie that he's not a good writer many times. But it's just like I think what he was trying to. Okay, I'm trying now. Now I'm reaching. I think what he was maybe trying to do is like this is how a lot of Americans perceive Asian Americans, and we're pointing out how stupid it is to have these immature thoughts. You can't eat sushi because your eyes are gonna go slanted. Like we're just making fun of the most ridiculous, fucking overly overt racism for no reason. Like we're teammates. What's wrong with you? Like that's so. Are you yellow?
Obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was actually very funny. Like the timing on some of these things in this movie, like the editing was also oddly spaced out and weird. Like again, it's just I just want to know how this movie came together and what's missing. I want to know like what didn't get in the movie. You know what I mean? How they had to have shot a ton of shit.
I mean, at least for sure they at least had the song that says you have to be the best of the best, and friggin' James Earl Jones says it. When I was watching it, I texted Neri. I go, "I'm out." He said the name of the movie in the speech.
The moment he said it, you're the best of the best. I was like, "Oh, Jeff is gone. He's gone. He's not." Jeff does not tolerate the title of the fucking movie said in the movie. He does
what
not
are we, some kind of
shit.
Suicide Squad? All right.
But also like the best of the best. Why do they suck so much?
Yeah.
Why are they so fucking clumsy?
Because they've only had 3 months to practice. Meanwhile, Korea's been practicing for years. They have the full financial support of their government.
Yeah. I
mean, that was pretty fucking clear.
It was
though. That was
it was
hey,
clear in there.
Why is that team? First of all, they're not fighting as a team. It's not like a rumble. It's not like they're individuals training.
Right.
If this was a football movie, it would make a lot more sense.
This was West Side Story, but with martial arts, dude. It was like,
don't you dare insult West Side Story. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
But then,
all right,
and then you got the tournament, which like I mentioned.
I thought that was really good. I thought the fucking tournament was actually good. I liked the fighting in the movie. The movie, fighting was the actual best part of the movie.
For a KickFlix movie, this was like good tournament, like martial art tournament action. Like it wasn't like they're fighting in the street. It was like they were sparring for points. So there was like some obviously telegraphed stuff that they do for the movies, et cetera, et cetera. But also there was a lot of like standard Taekwondo shit, which is what I assume that's the fight they wanted to display. Taekwondo, like that's what it was. The big fancy kicks, the spinning back kicks, and then Ahmad Rashad narrating all the moves. You know, it was like an anime where they say the name of the attack as they attack. That's what it felt like Ahmad Rashad was doing. He's like, "Ooh, a point from an inside crescent kick," and it's like, "Oh, okay," and it's like I guess that's what that is. Continue, you know, like, and he was just narrating the moves, and I was like, yeah, this feels like every martial arts tournament I've ever seen is quick, bing bang boom, and that's it.
Well, Philip Ray, I just looked it up. He's a 7th Dan black belt in Taekwondo. So him writing it, that's the primary focus of what he wanted. I'm
assuming he choreographed this as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
I'm assuming.
But we don't know because there's not a lot of information. All right. What are your reviews? What are your ratings? I need a rating. I need a review. Mike.
This is the first one that we haven't had to rush because fuck. God. Oh wait, hold on. Before we near it, because we didn't even talk about like what happens at the end. That the fact that the U.S. loses because of the thing, and then these guys give
okay. So that was a good speech that the Daehan gives.
Yes.
Where he says
I feel bad for killing your brother.
No, he says restraint and defeat, something to that effect. It was a really good fucking line. Or I'm like,
I have it here.
That is good.
I have it
What
here
is it?
because I did like it. It says, to save a life in defeat is to earn victory and honor within. Your
That's
brother,
fucking
too,
great.
was a great fighter. I deeply regret your loss, and I offer myself as your brother. Which is nice knowing that they're brothers in real life, which is kind
Yeah.
of a nice thing. But
No,
yeah,
but that the first half of that statement, without bringing in the fucking fact that you killed my brother, but
Yeah.
that first half is like, it's really fucking good. I'm like, God, I'm like, who wrote that? Who wrote that line? It can't be the same guy who wrote the fucking rest of this movie. Like, who wrote
No.
that line?
no.
I want
Where
that
did
guy.
you steal that line from?
Well,
Yeah,
there's
What other thing was that line exist in?
there was
So-
somebody that came in that because if you look at the writers for it, there's a third person that comes in that's there.
It's probably
Well,
the
there's
script
somebody named
doctor.
Paul Levine, but then there's Max Strom, which just wrote additional dialogue. It just
Yeah,
says additional dialogue.
That's what's considered a script doctor, where they hand somebody a script and they go like fix it up as
Fix
much as
it.
you can.
Yeah.
And then they fix up little maybe contingency errors, or maybe they think, that's just a script doctor. I say
Okay.
just, but in this movie, he probably fucking earned more than he probably worked way more than he got paid.
Well, it could have been because the other writer for this, what they're known for is the movie called Sexy Urban Legends. So it could be from there.
Yep.
Rookie says that Rutger
Hauer
Rutger Hauer
must have been on set that day.
Rutger Hauer is the guy from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Who does the Tears in the Rain speech.
Yeah.
All right.
But to save a life in defeat is to earn victory and honor within. Man,
I was like, that's good.
I genuinely got to give this
That boy good. That boy good.
That boy good. I'm gonna give this one Miami Cowboy hats.
Can I just tell you my favorite? My favorite is right after that when a guy goes, "I know everything about you."
Oh yeah,
and I was just like, "Oh fuck you!" So you knew about my bad shoulder and you specifically targeted that, you fucking pussy. I was like, "Oh," and then the comeback to that was, "I know everything I ever want to know about you." And it was like, that's such a good way of saying, "Look, I saw a 2-second clip of you hitting bricks, and that was enough for me. I don't need to see any.
I'm good.
I don't need to know you, bro." Yeah.
It's like, you took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You like the Thanos line?
Yeah.
All
right, so go ahead. You were saying.
No, I give it
rating.
one Papa Tommy out of 5s. Out of 5 because this I did not. I mean, it was just not enjoyable. The only thing would have been to watch it together and make fun of it. Otherwise, it's. There's so many other movies that I would, and genuinely like KickFlix movies that we've already done that are worse than this, that at least have some. I'd rather watch all of the Revenge of the Ninja movies, like
say it.
Blind Fury. I'd rather
you would rather watch Blind Fury than watch this
with Rutger Hauer. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess
it goes full circle, Neri. It goes full circle.
You know what? No, this is this. I would if someone was like the best of the best. If it was only between those two, I'd watch this one, whichever. I wouldn't change this for that, but if there was like anything else, man, it's like, hey, do you want to watch this documentary about pain?
Gun to head, best of the best, or whatever fucking
Blind Fury.
Whatever.
But yeah, whatever fucking
gun to my head, the gun.
Oh, so you're watching Red Belt. Got it.
Red Belt it is
understandable.
Jeff, what's your rating?
I'm gonna. I can't give less than a 1, right? So
no zeros. There's no zeros.
Okay.
Zeros, yeah.
Did we say halves or no? Are halves allowed?
No, you got to give at least 1.
No, I know. I'm giving.
Yeah,
I'm saying 1.5.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it
half.
one.
You can't give it a quarter because you were last time you were talking about fucking quarters. I was like, Jesus Christ, over here.
I'm giving it a half. I'm gonna give it 1.5 Korean stairway wheelbarrow push-ups.
There's so much bad shit in this movie. Oh my god!
I was hoping nobody would mention it because I had that written as my fucking my review, my score from the beginning.
Oh boy!
You guys are right. Like the fighting at the end with the tournament, it wasn't terrible. The thing is, the writing's just so choppy and bad. And here's the thing: fans of the podcast know it's historically known that I like bad movies. I
Mhm.
enjoy bad movies for being bad, but they didn't try to make this movie bad. They tried to make this movie good, which is
Yeah.
why I don't like it as much. Like those bad movies, they know they're when they make a movie called Rubber about a tire that kills people, they know what they're doing.
That's
But
I see. That I actually like more. We differ in that where like if someone's trying to be funny, then it's another thing. And when someone tries to make something bad though, is Rubber is a comedy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when someone like I'm talking about like the troll too, like when it's
Yeah.
something that are trying to do or god, what the fuck is like those Sharknado movies and all that
Yeah.
stuff. They're once the irony is in play where they like, we get it, it's bad and we're gonna make it the most that I don't like when they're trying to make something so bad it's funny on purpose. It has to be they tried to do something good but it's bad, and that's why, and but it's still funny, you know what I mean? Like there's a balance to it.
I can see that.
If they're
Life,
trying
life is a balance, Mr. Miyagi. Life is
Yeah.
about balance.
Mhm.
And breast milk
I
is high in
give this
iron. But go ahead.
I give this my rating is 1.5 inner labias and 1.5 outer labias,
Outer
for a
labias.
So it's a
total
3?
for a total of 3 inner and outer labias.
I love that you were about to say Tobia. Like
So,
you almost said
Tobia.
Tobia.
God.
so yeah, I would go with 3 inner and outer labias. It's
Fuck.
I like the fighting in this movie, and that to me is enough to hold it up. And James Earl Jones is enough, and the Papa Tommy is enough for me to like this movie. There's so much bad writing in it, but it is what it is. All right, let's go to.
I would remake this movie. If I won $1 billion, I would remake this movie.
Well, you only need 5 million because that's what their first budget was,
Oh, okay.
and they grossed 1,700,000 worldwide.
So they
I'm
lost
sure.
money.
They lost. They lost the.
They lost money and they still got a sequel. That's hilarious to me.
4,
All right,
3 sequels.
All right, so we're gonna spin the wheel now. If you want to watch, this wheel is outdated because it still has the movie that we're gonna watch next week, which is
Big Trouble
Jeff,
in Little
help me.
China.
Big Trouble in Little China. So just if it lands on that, just know we're already gonna watch Big Trouble in Little China. I haven't updated the wheel on this laptop yet. If you want to add any movies to the wheel, please email us at kickflixpod@gmail.com, and then we can add movies to the wheel. Here we go.
And you have to put best of the best too.
Yeah.
No.
If it lands on,
I quit.
Yeah.
I refuse.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
47 Ronin.
47 Ronin.
47 Ronin.
Well, this is the
All
Keanu
right.
Reeves one, right? That we're talking about?
Keanu, yeah.
The Keanu.
Yeah. Is there another one? I that's an honest question. I wasn't even trying to be an asshole. Like, is there another 47?
I remember
Ronin?
there being another one. It might be something else, but hold on.
It's my understanding.
It's absolutely the
that
one
there's-
when I put it on the wheel, it was absolutely the Keanu Reeves.
There
one.
there
I
is a
didn't know if there was another one.
1994 47 Ronin.
There's also a 1941 47
47 Ronin. Yeah.
Oh wow. So no, it's the Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
The
The 2013 47 Ronin. Ooh, I'm kind of excited. I heard it was trash. I want to see if it actually was.
I actually. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, he actually likes it. So yes, the answer is yes, Mike.
I watched. I was gonna say.
He knows. He knows what he does.
I literally just said after fucking. I just gave a 3-star review to this movie. My opinion is fucking shot. I mean, it doesn't even matter anymore. I'm aware. But when I watched 47 Ronin as a recap, I watched 47 Ronin expecting it to be bad. I'm like, why does everybody hate this movie? Like, that's how I didn't go, man, this movie's amazing. I was like, it's not fucking this. It's not the worst thing ever. Why is everybody hating on this movie?
The Fan Four Stick experience that we had changed my life, and now that's how I watch things. I was like, why is everybody, like,
that's how I saw 47 Ronin, just like Fan Four Stick, where I was like, why is there? I mean, it's that fucking the worst thing. Like, that's how I was like, why? I was more like confused, questioning everybody's hate for the movie is what I said. So, anyways, all right. So check us out. All the social medias, everything is KickFlix Pod. Make sure you check us out. Check out Mike on the other podcast that he's on. What are you doing? What else are you doing, Mike? We're on Woobro.
I'm on Woobro. I'm on I do this. I'm on this thing called the D&D Club. If you go to Twitch, at the D&D Club on Twitch, dndclub.games is their website. It's like a network for DMs to be paid and you play games and stuff like that. But I do a stream on there on Saturdays, and then I do like an interview show for them, D&D stuff. And I was doing an improv show that we're going to be retooling. But yeah, just go to the D&D club, follow them if you like D&D stuff. They're great.
And check out Jeff, who's also on Cramocopia, which is a podcast with him and Q, a true crime podcast that's available on the Geek Bro Network. Go to geekbro.net. Get the other podcasts that include Cramocopia and What's Up, Bro, and Shiver, and
Better Let Me Tell You.
Chow Like At Best with Mike Valdez. Better Let Me Tell You. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Geekbro.net. You guys been fun. Thank you for hanging us out. Jeff has to go back to work. Peace.
Yep.